So we're going to jump into this and show you how to model this entire house from start to finish over the next few episodes. And we're going to bring it into Unreal Engine, light it all up, the whole lot. Now this isn't my floor plan, this is from Solo Timber Frame Homes, so credit has to go to them for this floor plan. I'm only using this as a demonstration purposes. And yeah, so we'll just start. We need to get the scale of the floor plan to the scale inside Blender. So what we need to do is we need to find a room that we want to start with. And let's say we'll just hide this for a second. We have bedroom number 4 here. And so it says bedroom 4 here, 5.5 by 3.4 meters. So all we do is, let's say this floor plan's tiny at the minute. All we do is we make a plane. And we make it 5.5 by 3.4 meters right here. So we put in the dimensions of the room. Once this object's selected, we open the end panel. It's up here, item. Yeah, once we have that there, all we do is we grab our floor plan, the image, and we just scale it up to fit the exact room. And we can snap it to the top view and just scale it down a little tiny bit to make sure all the walls are within the bounds. So let's say we might need to press G and just slide down the floor plan a little tiny bit. And that looks quite good there. Now it's not going to be pixel perfect, but we know that the dimensions here are correct. And we're trying to scale the floor plan, but we have to keep moving the floor plan over and then scaling it, and it keeps moving out of the way. Well, the way to fix that is all we want to do is select the floor plan, press Control period to move the pivot of the floor plan, and roughly move the pivot of the floor plan to where we can hide the plane as well if we want to see exactly where. So we can click the plane, press H to hide it, then click the plan again, and we can move the pivot just around the center of the room we're trying to scale from. And then we can scale the plan exactly where we want it around you might need to slide it just to get it in the center of the rectangle, but then very easily you're able to move it around. So yeah, just moving the pivot of the floor plan. If you wanted to scale it around the ensuite, you'd put it in the center of the ensuite, press Control period, and now it would scale from that exact spot. Let's start at a corner. We can press Shift plus right mouse button to add the cursor here to the corner, and we'll just add it right here in the center. And then press Shift A and make sure we're in object mode. Shift A, mesh, single vert. If you don't have the single vert, look at the other video about the single vert. Once we have the single vert, we can extrude it up, and we can see up here, if you click it, up in the top left, you'll see the distance of how much it's been extruded. But we're just going to go with that. And then we can just grab these two verts and we can just extrude them along. And right here, once we get to the end, we can add a loop cut and slide it up to the end. And we can grab the new edge and just extrude it along. And we can do the same here. We can just add a loop cut, slide it up, grab the edge, extrude it along. And then for the windows and the doors and the entrances, you're just going to leave them completely empty for now. Completely empty. So let's say here, we want to do the same here, but we want it as a separate mesh, because when we're going to light it inside Unreal Engine, we want all of it in separate pieces so it lights properly. If it's all connected in one big mesh, you're going to have lots of noise and lots of issues in your renders. So this is why all these walls are going to be separate meshes. But for now, it doesn't matter. We can continue modeling and we can separate them later using some techniques, which I'll show you. For now, we're just going to keep going. So we might just get this edge, Shift D, duplicate the edge over, come into vertex mode again, extrude them over. And then we can just press Control R, loop cut, slide it in the middle, select the edge in edge mode, extrude it up. And we can just keep going. We can press G to just drag this up because we don't want more verts if possible. Once we get to this edge, we can do the same again. We can just do Shift D, go across, come across, just extrude it across the whole way. And we're just going to focus on just the exterior walls until this is all done. So once this is all done, we'll go on to the interiors. I'm just going to speed it up real quick. Okay, so once that's all done, if we hide our main sheet now. We have all the exterior walls for the ground floor done. And we'll just press H to hide with stuff so that we can see more visibility, and then Alt H to unhide stuff. Or let's say we want to isolate something. So let's say we want to work on this piece, we can do Shift H and it'll hide everything but this piece. And this is going to be especially useful when you're working on interiors, when you want to just hide everything except one wall you're trying to make a shelf on or something. So, but for now, we're just going to keep going. We're going to go into the interiors. We're going to press Alt H to unhide everything. And what we want to do is we don't want this as one mesh. So we can just come into edit mode, press A, press P, press separate by loose parts, and then now when we click object mode, you'll see that they're all individual pieces. And so now that we have this in all individual pieces, we can press H again, and now you can see that we all have them in individual pieces. And we're not going to extrude them up yet either. We're going to wait till we have this fully finished on the inside. So press Alt H. Bring back the stuff. Oh yeah, before we move on to the interior walls, we'll just hide this for a second and we'll see what we're working with here. You can use this measure tool over here, yeah, and we just press Control onto one vertex and drag across to the other vertex, and you'll see you can get a measurement. So at the minute this is measuring 0.278 meters. You'll need to maybe adjust the dimensions to make sure all are even. So another thing is, if we're trying to, let's say, measure across here, and we can't quite measure it straight across, we can lock this to the y-axis, and then we get a measure that's directly across. So we know that this is 3.1 meters. So at the minute we can come into, to solve this, we can come into vertex mode. We can just grab these verts, and we can just move them across like this. And if, as long as we don't have auto merge on here, we have it turned off, we can press G. We can move it across, we can snap it. Sorry, we need to snap and turn on here to vertex mode. Press G, and we can snap it to this vert here. And then we can just press G and come back this way, and then just press 0.27 minus, because it's the other direction. So from here, along the y-axis to here, it's 0.27. And you'll see the same over here. So now, obviously this one here is 0.278059, but it's really quick. We just come into vertex mode, make sure we have a rectangle select, G cross, snap it across, G back 0.27, and it's done. And now we can just click measure, and you'll see that the new measurement, if we grab the end and put it to the end, it's 0.27 as well. And so we can do this to make sure that all the walls are precise. Now, some people won't require you to be exactly this precise, but it is good practice to make sure you know how to adjust everything to make sure it's completely accurate with the reference images. So now that we know how to do this and it's completely accurate for the sake of this tutorial, and for a reference interior wall, I might change my units, because I think the interior walls here are meant to be 4.5 inches thick. So again, we can just come over here to the seating units. We can come to imperial this time, go to length, and go to inches. And now when we come inside, we might come use the middle mouse button and Alt, snap it to the top view, and then we'll press Shift plus right mouse button to move our cursor wherever we want to start. So let's say we're going to start here at the front door with this interior wall. Then we're going to add a single vert, and we're going to extrude it up. Vertex mode, we can select it, then we can extrude, and we can just click 4.5, and that's 4.5 inches along the Y, but we're going to do minus because it's the other direction, and then that's our interior wall width. And so now our interior wall, and if it's not connected here or you have any issues, we're just going to move it back a little bit here for a second, and we can change it to edge snap, and then we can just lock it to the x-axis still, so we're moving it back in line, and then we're just going to snap it to the edge. And now that's that sorted. So another tip is, whenever you start here and we know that this is the correct width, all we've got to do is, once we get to the edge of the wall to turn the corner, is stretch it out and then click extrude, and then lock it to that axis and type in 4.5 inches, and you know that the next edge is ready to go. So we can just extrude it along, and it's going to be the same width. And the same here, if we get to this edge here, we want to get to about here, and then we want to extrude it out 4.5 inches again. And then we've got this edge, and we can do the same, and we just repeat the process for all the interior walls. And because all these are in line right now, and this one here isn't, this one here came up, this one's in line with this, we can literally grab these two, and we can just come into vertex mode, wireframe it, grab these, come back to material preview. So we have this, and then we can just change it to vertex snap, and then we can just G, lock it to the axis, and come down and lock it to this corner. And then now that'll fix that little tiny issue there, where all these are all aligned the whole way up through the entire house. So now if we do press hide and we have these elements, we can select, let's say, just the exterior walls if we want. And we come into edit mode, and we can press A, and we can just press E, and we can extrude them up. And if snapping's turned on, we can hold control to just move them freely, and then we can type in a distance. So let's say we want them a certain meters. Now we're still in inches mode, so we're going to come back over and change our thing to metric, change our thing to millimeters, and let's say we're going to extrude them up, and we're going to maybe do 2,800 mils. And so these are our main, this is the main structure for the second floor upstairs on the exterior. And you're wondering, oh yeah, what's the windows? Where's the windows and doors? How does that work? Well, it's what we do is when we know the height of our windows. So in this case, let's say we want the window 1 meter off the ground. We'll just come in, grab an edge loop. We'll merge it at the bottom, so it's snap to the bottom, and then we'll just G it up 1 meter, which is 1,000 mils. Now it's 1 meter, and then what we can do is, because we want simple meshes anyway, we press 3. They'll come into face mode, extrude, and we just snap it across. And we do the same on this side. We just extrude, we snap it across, and then that's the windows done at 1 meter high. And if you wanted to move them all down, well, it'd be pretty easy to do that. We could just come into wireframe, come into vertex mode, select the verts here, and we could, let's say, move them down 90. So we could snap it to this view, G, lock it to the axis down, and then let's say move it down 100 mils. So like move it down to 900 mils total instead of 1,000. So we move it down 100 minus, and now you'll see we have 900 mils from the bottom to the top. So if we literally take our measuring tool and we hold control and we snap it to here and we drag it up and we hold Z and we snap to the edge, it's 900 mils. And the same if we wanted to move it back up. Let's say we want to move it back up, we just do that, G, Z. So we GZ with the vert selected, all the verts selected, and then just do 100 mils. Now you'll see if we grab this bit, we lock it to the Z axis again, it's up to 1,000. So we're able to move that around, and all these meshes will be separated because we need to have them separated for Lumen in Unreal. So that's how we insert the windows, but we're not going to worry about that for now. We're going to finish off all the interior walls as well. So for now, we're just going to hide all the exterior walls. And then we can work on the interior walls, and we can, because we kept them all together for now, we can go into edit mode, we can press A, and we can extrude them up to whatever height we want. And we extrude it up to 2,800 mils. So we just do 2,800 mils for now. Press object, and I can press Alt H to unhide everything. And you'll see now we have our interior walls for upstairs complete, and our exterior walls, and they're very easily separable into each other meshes. So again, if we want to separate all these into individual meshes so they're ready for Lumen, we just press edit mode, press A, P, by loose parts, and then go to object mode. And now we have individual loose parts that are all going to be pretty much lightable in Lumen straight away. And as I said, for now, we're going to go straight back. I'm going to press Alt H, I'm going to come to material preview, and we have the first area done. We're going to repeat this process for the next floor of the house. And we'll move them into a new collection called Exterior Walls, Ground Floor. And now when we click off them, and we click on one, but we want to select all of them, we can just press Shift G to select similar, and then we can click collection, and it will select all of them, but they're still separated. So I can select this one, Shift G, collection, and they're all selected. And the same, that's why we should group these as well, the exact same. So we could just grab all the ones in the center, all the interior walls. Make sure we're not missing anything. Move it into a new collection. Interior walls. First floor. Then we could just press H to hide them. Snap it to this view. Wireframe. Select everything except these two. So with that, we don't need the plane either. Come back to solid mode, and we can just do the same thing, put it into another collection. Exterior walls, first floor. And now we can press Alt H to unhide everything. And so now that we have this, when we click an interior wall, we can just press Shift G to select all the interior walls. Or when we select an exterior wall, we can press Shift G to select all the exterior walls. The same goes for the next floor. We're going to be able to do the exact same thing. And then we do Shift C, move to new collection, interior walls, ground floor. And we can just click whichever one we want. Again, Shift G, select what collection, grab all the walls right on the inside. Right here we have another case of where we're meant to merge down to the very end. And it's still part of that. And then we can come into edit, press all, extrude up 2,700 millimeters. We need to change our units back to metric, length 10 millimeters. Press extrude up 2700. And we have our interior, exterior walls here. And then press Shift G, select by collection, edit all, extrude up, snap it to the top edge, object, and now we have the ground floor and the first floor. Both interior and exterior walls are all done. So it's just the windowsills, then the center floor, stairs, roof, and then we're ready to bring it into Unreal for the first render for previs. See, there's a lot of times you'll go in there and there'll be something that'll need to be fixed, so you'll have to come back and sort something out. So we'll talk about it and break it all down as we go anyway. And that's it for this episode. I'll see you in the next one.